crap start, really.
Like it's
Uh,
creepy
uh,
sound
oh,
and
okay. Can you hear me now?
yeah,
No?
yes.
Oh, good, good. This is part two with Tommy from Belgium. Just wondering your feelings about the crop circle researchers, Janet, and some of the stuff you were just chatting to me before we recorded about um, the Netherlands case she was dealing with. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah. About the Robert van den Broeke case. Well, it's quite obvious she's also protecting those lies and myths about Mr. van den Broeke, who most likely makes the very small circles by himself, and then telling people that he gets in contact with the balls of light, and the balls of light tell him in his dreams which circle is going to appear and um, what design is going to be, and then the morning after they get to the field and oh behold, that same circle is there in the field.
Yeah, that's quite a common thing, really, with circle makers. Often, giving people what they want. It has been a case of crop circle researchers will sort of be indicating they think something's going to happen, and they'll make statements, and then circle makers will go out and do something. But this guy, he's actually he's gone one stage further with he's a full on contactee. It's probable that he's making the circles, and that he's claiming sort of abductions and all sorts of other things there as well. Um,
Well, there was one article that came into the Dutch newspapers, and the article said that Mr. Van der Broek, and his father were caught in a field at night. So, and that article probably never came to the ears of the researchers.
so when you say he was caught in the field at night, actually making a circle, and who was he caught by? Have you got some pointers to which newspaper this was, or something?
Just know it was a Dutch newspaper, and the funny thing is, I was told by this by Nancy Talbot from the BLT research team.
Right, so Nancy Talbot knows about this then. All right, okay, that's interesting because I remember one of the key things that I thought about this case was apparently Nancy Talbot went to stay with this guy. She was in the bedroom where she was meant to be sleeping and saw a flash outside, and then went outside, and apparently there was a crop circle there. Now, when they checked around in the morning, they found some burn marks on the side of the house near a windowsill or something, which was maybe the windowsill which she was in, the room that she was in, and they thought this was interesting. But the point that I thought that had been completely lost on all of these people is that they didn't know whether those burn marks were actually there on that windowsill, before all of this. So
Yeah,
it's easy to say they were there afterwards, but I mean, did anybody actually take any note of whether there was these burn marks on the windowsill beforehand?
no, of course it. And also that formation, I believe it was in potato plants, I believe. It was just right behind the garden of the Van der Broek's family.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's too unreasonable to imagine that there could be some sort of deception going on here, because sometimes if something is too good to be true, it often isn't true. I go on that logic sometimes, and I've investigated cases, UFO cases, in the past myself, where I have actually found that people are faking video footage and making stories up, and I've caught people doing this, and I've got them, they've admitted to me that they're doing it in the end, and so I know this stuff goes on, and what troubles me is whether or not you've got enough critical analysis going on by some of these crop circle researchers, because I mean they seem incapable of being able to work out that circles are made by people. So I mean, if you put them into a UFO case scenario where they're investigating something associated with the crop circles, I mean, are these people capable of actually, asking the right questions and being critical, to try and find out whether there's deception going on. And I'm not sure if they are. I mean, what do you feel about that?
Well, it must be there's a deception going on, because I think the evidence and the behavior of the researchers is quite obvious, because it all points in the same direction. Like we're going to keep the myth alive, and we're not telling the truth to anyone because we don't want to lose any money, and we just want to keep publishing books and videos full of crap.
I mean, I had an interesting one with Linda Moulton Howe. Well, I mean, we took Linda Moulton Howe and showed her us making. We showed that we are making a circle for Linda Moulton Howe. We actually went out and made one, and there were some people there. Ron Russell had his electromagnetic meters, and he went into the field before we started making the circle, and he took his readings, and then we made the circle, and then he took some more readings, and he said, well, these are the strongest readings I've ever had from any crop circle I've ever been in. This is the strongest. And we said, well, that's interesting, because you've just seen us make it, and you knew there were no readings here before we started, and we haven't got any special equipment. We're not doing anything, it's just us making this circle. And he said, well, that's very interesting. It means that my criteria was actually wrong, and he was prepared to admit that. But Linda Moulton Howe was there, and she's a very seasoned researcher that a lot of people respect. But she didn't accept this. She believed there was a conspiracy, some sort of form of conspiracy going on, and she actually went away and then started telling people that we worked for the CIA. After we'd invited her to see a circle being made, and we'd had some amazing results on their equipment, which nobody was expecting. I wasn't expecting, and she said, oh, they're just CIA. You can't believe them. They work for the CIA. And I'm like, well, where do you make this up? You've just made this up. You've just totally fabricated that statement in order to, satisfy, your conspiracy orientated listeners to your radio show. It's like you're just making it seem more than it actually is. You're adding to it and embellishing it. And then it disappointed me, because I thought, well, if again, if you can say this about me when I'm trying to be, fair and with you and show you something, and you can say this about me, what does it say about the rest of your research? And then it made me think, well, God, what sort of researcher is she? And since then, I've tried to make contact with her a couple of times, and I've even been in a UFO conference giving a lecture, and she just walks past me, she snubs me, and the thing is, I actually made a UFO once, a set of balloons, and we were asked to do it by Japanese television, and we set this thing off, and it was to try and see whether the Japanese TV crew could tell the difference between this UFO that we had created and what would be a real UFO. So initially, we were rather disappointed. The Japanese TV company didn't actually reveal that it was a man-made thing, and they put it on the TV program saying, no, this is real and we don't know what this is. And we were quite, like, oh God, what's all this now, this is going to cause so much trouble. And we thought this was going to be an experiment to see whether people could tell the difference. And but anyway, because they were saying it was real, Linda Moulton Howe had seen this because she was doing a skywatch on a nearby hill. Now, she classes that UFO in one of her books. She classes that thing, which was just a set of balloons with a strobe light inside it, and I have the video footage of us making this thing, and she classes it as one of the best UFO sightings she's ever had. And it's just about 6 or 7 balloons with a strobe light inside the middle of them, and they're large. We bought a helium canister, and we blew these things up in a barn, and we just let it off. We let it go into the air, and this is. You'd imagine that a UFO researcher of Linda Moulton Howe's standing would kind of be able to, determine that this thing was not that exciting, was something with a flashing light inside it, and maybe not a UFO, just something that somebody had sent up into the air. But no, she said it was the best thing she'd ever seen. So, I mean, I just